What up, it's Casper. Today's video I'm going to be talking about the movie Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a 2014 film. It's rated PG-13 and it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. Directed by Matt Reeves. So in many people's eyes, this is the second movie for the Planet of the Apes franchise. There are original movies before these ones right here, before this one, and those are like the 70s, late 60s ones. In this movie we got a different director, so this director did not work on the first one. Not only that, we have different actors from the movie Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Literally a lot of the actors in that movie are all wiped out, continuing the storyline, but just basically with just Caesar. So in this movie right here, the one thing I did like is seeing the homie Caesar. When I saw Caesar show up on the screen, I'm like, yo, the homie is here, he in the building. This movie did have here and there references to the old movie. If you guys remember from the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, there was a deadly virus hovering around the world. So this movie picks up decade later. You see how empty the world is, how more of just like the plantation of like trees and grass are just growing over buildings and stuff. So the species that literally survived are these apes. The ape community is back in this movie. We did see a lot of the apes from the first one show up in here. In this movie, there's a lot of ups and downs for me. Seeing Caesar was definitely a positive sign, because the fact that we could follow along what he's going through, see the storm that he's dealing with trusting his own species, the apes, and then trusting the humans whenever the humans ended up showing up. One thing that these apes in this movie don't know is that there are humans that did survive that virus, and these people are in their own little community and they're trying to basically start from scratch again. So you see more how this movie, there's a section of humans basically restoring their livelihood and trying to build up from day zero again and just trying to become a human species again. And then we got these apes in their own section as well. They basically took over that jungle from the last movie and they made it into a kingdom. So this movie right here, you see how the apes didn't think that there was humans. People who are on an adventure, they end up finding these apes and they're super shocked. Apes are super shocked as well. So now we're seeing a trust issue between the apes and the humans, and it's crazy how one of the apes literally does their own people's dirty. So an ape did another ape dirty, and now all the apes think that humans are not trustworthy at all, basically not even trusting Caesar anymore, because they believe that Caesar has more trust in humans. And then you got humans who actually saw and communicated with Caesar, and they're like, yo, Caesar's different, we're trying our best to restore humanity and Caesar's allowing us to do this. Basically it's like a mini war between the apes and the humans once they know that they're both existing in that area. So it's like San Francisco area, seeing the buildup on how that war is going to begin. That's what the movie is about. Actor that plays Caesar is Andy Serkis, and I gotta say, to start it off with Caesar, once again, it was awesome to see Caesar. For me, enjoyable, fun ride in the first movie, The Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I really like seeing the growth of Caesar, and seeing him in this movie, he's literally a grown-ass ape now. Very insane to see that in this movie that a lot of time has passed by. Really liked seeing the growth of Caesar as well, seeing how much of a ruler he is to all these other apes. He's building a family. So you see a lot of characteristics in Caesar's life where you're like, oh, this is so awesome to see. Seeing a lot of the community and Caesar's kingdom obeying what Caesar is building. You see how everybody is synchronized and organized on making this community grow. They have their own rules. The more this movie kept flowing, you just saw a lot of more stuff that Caesar was building on, and it was just an enjoyable thing to see. It's really cool to see just basically Caesar just become who he has become in this movie. I really wish that they had James Franco back in this movie. Reasons being is because we just show up with these new characters in this movie. We see new adventurers, we see new people on their own journey, and now we're just like, who is this? Who is this guy? The fact that they did reference James Franco in this movie, one, it was cool that they did that. They didn't shy away, knowing that he was holding that movie and made that movie what it was. So I'm glad that they didn't just ignore him. Secondly, it just made me realize as well that, dang, they really just killed them off without even saying anything or seeing how it even happened. You just realize like, yo, James Franco is really not part of this movie anymore. But with the apes in general, a lot of the special effects, I would say it was okay. At times you can tell that they were just going pretty hard on these special effects. It just seemed a little bit too humanish. A lot of these apes had a lot of like human characteristics where just too human like and didn't seem too ape like. The one thing that I did enjoy was the sign language that these apes had. I think the movie should have just been more confident in that sign language perspective, because that honestly looked very believable. It looked cool, it looked interesting, they looked smart like that. But when you got them speaking English and going like and saying full sentences, it kind of threw me off at times. I'm like, bro, just like a human in this ape or something. The action scenes was an interesting one, because going back to the special effects and everything, some of the apes are shooting guns in here, they're riding horses, and they're doing a lot of stuff as humans would do, like straight army style battle. And it was something that confused me, because I'm like, when did they, I know they're smart, but when did they learn how to ride a horse? Where did they keep these horses at? Would like to see more characteristics and more of what the apes have strength in, rather than seeing the strength of what a human would do. Music score adding in the background did add to those action scenes, did add to those sentimental, sad scenes at times, but it wasn't a crazy standout. It just fit for the movie. With the humans that we see in this movie, a lot of these actors did pretty good, but were absolutely just very random. You can see with a lot of these humans that are looking for this generator for the light stuff and their energy to get back, you can see which one was like the good one, which one was the corrupt one, and which one was the evil one. One of them that just randomly there. Like each one with their facial expression, you can tell what they're going to be involved with. Gary Oldman, who plays Dreyfus, I enjoyed his role because you can definitely see that a lot of the responsibilities on the human side were relied on him. He did have a direction type of look, so I would say his acting was up to par. It did once again keep the movie flowing, and it wasn't something that was awkward. It seemed like a confident role for him as well for what he had. Jason Clarke, who plays Malcolm was a character that you knew he was going to be the main character for the humans. His presence was one of those things, oh, is he just trying to take over James Franco's character and become a character where you want to involve him in the next movie? Overall, I think the interaction with the apes and overall conversations with his team was a believable one, and it did put out that pressure, and it did put out that vibe. He's really just trying to make stuff happen without anything being flawed away or no corruption being in the way. He really wanted to get the job done on trying to like just have humanity grow again. Whenever the movie was fading towards like the corruption side where you didn't want it to go, he was that character that made the movie like, okay, thank goodness we have someone like that on our side. He was an okay character and he wasn't too much of a bother. None of these characters did something that stood out like crazy. Everyone just played their specific role. One thing that I didn't like in this movie is just the location settings. Definitely have showed a lot of more of the abandoned areas rather than just choosing a couple few abandoned spots that we saw. There's some aerial shots, there's some drone shots that we see them telling us like, yo, this is an abandoned town, this is an abandoned city. I would really like to see more how the humans saw a lot of the abandoned buildings. The movie brought us to an abandoned gas station and the lights turn on. I'm like, yo, you can definitely tell that this was abandoned for a very long time. I think the location, it was very minimal, and then seeing more how these people in the town who are all huddled up together creating their own little town again, see how they live on an everyday basis rather than them just unifying with each other whenever an outburst happens. After my watching the movie Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, out of 10, I'm gonna have to give the movie a 7 out of 10. So that's my movie review for the movie Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.